Very good evening and good afternoon, whatever time you want to say. Welcome to the 123rd edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report, live here from Edmonton in Rossshire. We have got a little bit of snow on the ground and the temperature is dropping out there, despite the fact that we've got cloud cover now starting to move in from the south. It has been a pretty busy past couple of days across the UK with wind, rain, snow, ice. We've had all sorts of wintry weather to speak about, and obviously, this is the first stream of 2025 as well. So, a very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon, where we're going to take a little tour around the UK, Ireland, and other parts of the world as well to see what weather we've been seeing over the past few days. It certainly is one of those kind of situations where you're like, where the heck do you even start? The video last night, the European Outlook, was 30 minutes long, but there was so many things to cover that it really did. It really meant that I had to kind of spend that time discussing and looking through all the different aspects. There are so many different factors to consider. We've seen a lot of different types of weather. We've seen milder moving northwards. We've seen the minus double digits through the course of this morning. Even this afternoon, my wife and I, Lindsay, drove up to Ardross Castle, which is about 15 minutes inland from where we live. And the temperature was reading -6 at 2:30 in the afternoon. We have got some spots within shelter with snow on the ground that is not that far off -10 during the course of this afternoon. So it really has been a bitterly cold afternoon here across Central and North Highland. While we've seen 13 Celsius down across the south, we've also seen a lot of that milder continuing to track northwards up towards the generally a line really from about Liverpool all the way across to Leeds. That milder has kind of bumped up against the cold air, and it looks as if what's going to happen is through the course of the night we're going to see that cold air sink back south once again. So a very warm welcome to everybody. Thanks once again, like I say, for tuning in to the very first live stream of 2025. It looks as if we've got Soft Shallow, who was the very first on today's live chat. So thank you very much for tuning in. We've also got Katrine Basil also tuning in this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Hazel. Not Hazel, Katrine. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you had a wonderful new year. Not just Katrine, but everybody on the chat. I hope you've had a joyful time with friends and family over the last week or two. We've also got Jack Lowe also tuning in. Good afternoon to you, Jack. We've got Paul James. Good afternoon to you, Paul. Hope you're well, my friend. And you also had a nice festive period. We've also got our friend Mark Kinnis tuning in from the world. Good afternoon to Mark. We've got Jack Lowe. We've got, who else have we got here? We've got Bella's Buggy Bags also tune in. Good afternoon to you. That is a wonderful name, by the way. We've also got Frog's Legs Matthew. We've got Hazel. I knew that Hazel would be in the background somewhere. Good afternoon to you. We've got Glory to Jesus tune in as well. We've got who else have we got here tune in? We've got Frog's Legs Matthew. We've got Joyce Fogan tune in from Kirkintilloch along with David, I would imagine. Yes, there he is here. And Paul James says very mild here now. Yeah, temperatures have been on the rise quite sharply through the overnight, Paul, as you probably know yourself, my friend. And obviously, freezing rain has been a thing. Let me know in the comments, by the way. Let me know what your weather conditions have been like over the last 24 hours or so. We've been firmly stuck in the cold up here across the far north of the UK. Quite fortunate if you love winter weather to live in this part of the world because if you're going to get it, the chances are you're going to get it up where we live here in the far north of the UK. We've got City Andy also tuning in to you. Good afternoon, City Andy. We've got Paul Farwell also on the chat. Who else have we got here? Have we got anybody else? We've got David Bond. Yeah, good afternoon to you, my friend. An old school friend that lives in Dunfermline. I hope you're well, my friend, and you are staying warm. We've also got Paul Gerling also on the chat. So what is everybody saying? Let's have a look and see, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts. Look at some of the pictures that we've been seeing coming in on social media through the course of today with the sleet, the snow, the rain, the rise in temperature. Then we're going to see the fall in temperature as we progress through the course of tonight. Current temperature here at Marflogan Weather HQ is a rather chilly -4.5 Celsius. Looks as if it's going to be the first ice day of the season here. Temperature, the warmest temperature so far in the last 24 hours has been -2. So it looks as if the maximum here is going to be -2. I think that's going to be the coldest maximum I've recorded at my weather station. The weather station will have been live for 2 years as of the 8th of January. So it's coming up for the 2 years that it's been running. So obviously quite a short period of record, obviously. But we've got Jack saying, "Afternoon, Mark and all. What a horrible day we've had in Warwickshire. Cold, grey, misty, slushy. This will be one of the muckiest days of 2025. Hope everyone is okay." Yeah, it certainly sounds as if it's been a rather miserable day down in Warwickshire, Jack. Get yourself up to the north of Scotland. It's been pretty much clear blue sky here. We've now seen the band. In fact, there's actually a tremendous red sky. The only slight problem is that the windows are frozen up. But I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I may slightly embarrass myself. I'm not gonna talk because the neighbours will probably think I'm a little bit crazy. But watch this here. How often do you get this on live streams, right? Let's open the door and I'll show you this amazing sky. So just bear with me a second, everybody. I'll try not to break my neck. Don't know how much you've seen of that, by the way, but it's absolutely spectacular. I'm going to ask if Lindsay would you have minded taking a photograph of that? The sky? Trying not to break your neck. That's okay. Just get a couple of photographs. I've just asked Lindsay there to get a couple of photographs. Did folks see that? I'd be curious to know actually if you've seen that sky. Wow, absolutely incredible stuff. So yeah, wow, lovely sky, says glory to Jesus. We've got what else are we seeing here? We've got Lisa also tuning in. Good afternoon to you, Lisa. Hi, sorry I'm late. That sunset is gorgeous. Yeah, I'm actually glad that I happened to just catch that because that is absolutely breathtaking. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty darn cold out there. Lindsay says, "Does everyone watch the Traitors?" BBC One. Mark and myself went to the castle gates today. Yes, we are. Advise mom and dad. I've already said to tune in to the Traitors, which is on the BBC. You may or may not be interested, but it's obviously Ardross Castle is only about 15 minutes away from here in Edmonton. So, what else have we got here? Jack says, "I love Scotland, Mark. Would love to come up to Fort William, to Oban, Mull, Ardnamurchan, and Fort William." Yeah, I think a sickie might be in order, says Jack. Well, we'll not tell your employer then if you're going to do a sickie. Thanks for that, by the way. Yeah. I'll try and get it. Aye. So Lindsay's going to try and actually post onto my Facebook page those pictures so that we can have a better look at that sky out there. Absolutely breathtaking stuff. So David Bond says it was snowy this morning and now sleet. What has been the weather like down in Kirkintilloch? I would be curious to find out. David and Joyce, what your weather has been. Sorry about this. I'm probably a little bit all over the place, but listen, this is what the beauty of a live is all about. That we've got, things happening right here, right now. I'm absolutely delighted, by the way, that I managed to catch that sunset just at the back of the house. So Lindsay's sending me these pictures, so just bear with me a little bit of a second here and see if I can get this real quick. So just bear with and we'll look at what's going on in just a second here. I'm getting myself a little bit overexcited here So Lindsay's just sending me this picture. Hopefully it's the right pictures. No, it isn't. Just bear with me a second. Sorry about this. Where did you send it? To the messenger? Aye, right. So, moving on. Anyway, rain all day in Newcastle says, Bri. Good afternoon to you, Bri. It's good to see you. It's good to also see some folks that probably have been on this live stream before, but a couple of names that I'm not overly familiar with. It is always good to see new faces. It lets myself know that the channel is continuing to grow. There's more people jumping on board, and obviously the forecast. I think really I was saying this to Lindsay in the car earlier that the forecast so far is playing out pretty well. I thought that December would be a little bit on the milder side compared to average, and then January would produce something a bit colder. Looks as if next weekend turns milder. The question mark is going to be with the MJO becoming more amplified in phases 7 and 8. We're also going to see a major disruption to the polar vortex. Interesting things going on there. Do check out yesterday's video if you happen to miss that. There is, I know it's 30 minutes, but they not only talking about the here and now with the amber warnings, the yellow warnings for snow and ice, but also a look at the bigger picture in terms of the MJO, the polar vortex, the behavior of the polar vortex with the warming, and also the fact that it would not surprise me if we have a temporary spell of warming and then we start to see a colder pattern kicking back in. So that remains open to question here. We've got who else? We've got certain, not certain. Also tuning in. A very good evening to you as always. Good to see you. Did you know my sunset here was like a planet of Mars? Yeah, the sunset has certainly been very, very impressive indeed. Certain, not certain. Also saying we might have an inversion at the end of next week with mild 850 temperatures. That is a very, very, very good point, by the way. And that has to get taken into consideration that we may have milder conditions aloft, above, in the mid levels of the atmosphere, but in actual fact, we still may hold on to something colder. A mild at the end to a cold spell can be a bumpy one, but also a not so clear change in the overall situation to something milder. So we need to take that into consideration. But certainly through the next several days, it is going to stay cold. We are going to see bitterly cold nights. It looks as if we'll see minus 11 at least at Loch Liscarnock during the middle portions of this morning. We've seen minus 6.3 here at the house, coldest of meteorological winter so far here. And the temperatures are dropping like a stone out there, by the way. There's no question about that. So let me see here. So, did anybody see snow? Let me know in the comments. I know Andy seen snow. I'm going to share some of the photographs. We've also got Sam Parker tuning in. Good afternoon to you. David Bond saying, I'm going to move to the summit of Ben Nevis so I can get more snow days. I like it. Sam Parker says, had just over an inch of snow last night in the southeast. Shame it turned back to rain. Next week looks somewhat promising though. Yeah, we've got a system, it looks like, towards the middle portions of next week that's going to cross the southern UK. So folks right along the south coast, say for example Brighton, Portsmouth, Southampton, all the way across Bournemouth, right the way down to the southeast corner or to the southeast. We knew that there was not going to really be any snow for you folks, unfortunately, but further inland, especially with any elevation, my thinking was that we would see some heavy snow, then it would change over to rain. We would see the temperatures hovering around the freezing mark, snowfall. Then, as the column started to warm up, we would start to obviously see the transition back over to rain, and that has been the case. And we've seen that milder air moving northwards throughout the course of today. We've also got Sean Avery. Hi, Mark. Last night, flights were diverted to Glasgow and Newcastle from us in Birmingham. So, yeah, heavy snowfall, I think, for a period of time in the Birmingham area. Sorry, this is a very, very busy live chat, so I'm trying my very best to try and keep up with everything that is going on. It's kind of slightly sidetracked me, if I'm being honest with you, because it has been pretty crazy stuff. So it looks as if we've got a message here from Lisa. So bear with me a second. Is there any pictures? No, I don't know why I'm not getting pictures. That's wait a minute. She's tagged me, I think, is what she's trying to say. So here is the sunset picture from just across the Cromarty Firth. Actually, that is an incredible sky, isn't it? So thank you very much, Lisa, for sharing that image coming in just a minute or so ago. So yeah, so let me just see here. As Lindsay sent me those pictures. So bear with me a little second. So I don't know, is it going to show me the pictures? No. So I don't know. I don't quite know what the script is with that. But what I'll do is I'll post them on Facebook and Twitter when I get the chance to do so after the stream. So snow pictures. This is a couple of pictures here sent in to BBC Scotland Weather, showing a wintry scene at West Linton in the Borders. So we did see some fairly heavy snowfall in the Borders. This is Medlam, and this is Stowe, and this is Balerno. Obviously, these are places that are quite prone to snow, a little bit higher up in elevation as well. But we've seen some beautiful wintry scenes in many parts of Scotland in the last wee while. But not only Scotland, but we've also seen our friends down south of the border also picking up some significant snow. But we'll look at that in just a second. Yellow warning, by the way, valid until midday Monday, for basically the system as it continues to clear in. We're going to start to see convective snow bands moving in off the North Sea. We could see upwards of a widespread 1 to 5 centimetres and 10 centimetres above 200 metres. Looks as if the yellow warning reaches Inverness, not quite up here in Edmonton across the Murray and the Cromarty Firths, it looks like. So let's continue to look through here and see some of these images. So this was the scene, by the way, from Ross Cunningham on the snowy hilltops of the Pentlands. This is just south of the Edinburgh area. Show you the start again. So yeah, that could be anywhere, couldn't it? Really beautiful white snow-capped hills, and then you're panning across. Or obviously, there's no snow down at low levels here in Edinburgh. This is, I'm assuming, from this afternoon. Let's continue to move on. I've obviously been sent quite a few beautiful snowy scenes. So just bear with me a second. I'll go into the notifications real quick. So no great shakes in Leicestershire. Now waiting for the big thaw and flooding. Yours sincerely, snowed in Celebi, I think it is. That is an MP Wright that shared that image of literally just a couple of little flakes. Now it was a different scene in a few other parts. This was West Yorkshire, by the way. Lorry stuck at Hellfire Crossroads in Wyke. Is that how you pronounce that? Probably not, but yeah. Looks as if on the top of that car there, they did a pretty good job of clearing their back window. But yeah, looks as if there's probably a good 3, 4, 5 inches of snow in this one particular image here by Neil. Thank you, Neil, for sharing these images of a beautiful West Yorkshire snowscape that was sent in 7 hours ago. No snow to speak about at Havelock Road, Brighton. Let me just see here. This was southwest Scotland. So a nice snowy scene here by Louise. Thank you to Louise for sharing that. Let me see here. This was the scene here from Peter Lee in County Durham by Ian Greenfield of a snow-capped or snow-covered roof here out the back of the house. I would imagine that is. So let me just see here what else. This was the scene by our very own Andy. I will get there in the end. This is from Glossop this morning. Beautiful snowy scene looking out from his house. Thank you very much, Andy, for sharing those images here. Another one from out the back in Glossop. So thank you very much for sending that in. Like I say, Andy, and Chris, I got his name completely wrong last week, by the way. I do apologise. It is Chris who sent me this image or this tweet here earlier. And at 10:15 this morning, his weather station, so his automated weather station in Rough Park in Strathdon, was recording at -14 Celsius this morning. So bitterly cold conditions for sure in the interior portions of Aberdeenshire. So let me just see, have I got any other images to show you? There's Lisa's picture once again. So let me see here. Don't think I've got anything really much else to show off that. Let me continue to move forward. So this is off the BBC weather. This is a picture here from Old Meldrum. Right, okay. Right, no problem. Little update there from Lindsay. I don't know why they're not in it. Right, okay, right. We'll have a look at that in just a second here. Sorry, Lindsay was just talking to me. So this was a beautiful scene here from Old Meldrum in Aberdeenshire from who's the person from Lady for Lunch. That is their handle. So beautiful image of Old Meldrum and clear skies. We've obviously got a whole mixture of different warnings at the moment. Amber warnings still in effect all the way from valid from 6 p.m. Saturday to 12 p.m. Sunday. That is for parts of Wales and into the Midlands here. But warning here, especially across northern portions of England, we've seen tremendous, a significant amount of snow actually down in Blackpool, right down at sea level in Lancashire this afternoon. I did happen to ask one guy if I could share his video, but he's not got back to me, so unfortunately I'm not going to bother sharing that with everybody because I would rather get permission before I share it. But generally we've got this amber warning all the way from the immediate coast of Lancashire and Cumbria all the way across to Northumberland, County Durham, down into parts of North Yorkshire. We've got the amber warning extends all the way to 12 noon tomorrow because that system is actually quite slow moving, and we're going to continue to see the rain, sleet, snow mix down at low levels, and then probably falling as all snow once you get above 100, 150 meters above sea level. So those warnings are going to continue. The one for obviously the Midlands and Wales has been cancelled, but the one for North England has been extended till noon tomorrow. We've got yellow warnings for snow and ice covering the majority of the UK as well as Northern Ireland also. So that is that. Let's continue to look through here. So there's that amber warning that looks as if it's been extended, has it? No. So let me see here. So these are snow depths. For the highest being Bingley in West Yorkshire at 16 centimetres of snow. This was as of 9 a.m. But Shap, 10 centimetres. Leeming, we had North Yorkshire at 9. We've got Capelcurrig and Conway at 7 centimetres. We've got Aberdeen at 5. And we've got Cinnybridge in Powys at 3 centimetres of lion snow as of 9 a.m. This is a beautiful picture here in Wakefield from Stevie T. So lovely scene here of the snow in the Wakefield area of Yorkshire. And this is how things are looking. So this is obviously off the BBC Twitter feed, and that system is going to continue to throw moisture. We've got rain falling as rain across mid and north Wales here. We've got a mixture across parts of the Republic of Ireland where we've seen some significant snow. We'll look at that in just a second here as well. Just bear with me a second here because this needs to go back to the current setup here. So I'll just pause it here. So this is in the afternoon today, and we had some heavy rainfall moving into parts of Wales. So obviously this milder air moving up towards the Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds area. We've got that kind of tight gradient here between rain, sleet and snow. North of that, we've got mainly snow, mainly rain in the south. But you can see here the wintry mix across southern portions of Ireland, also southeastern portions of Northern Ireland here, Armagh, County Down, moving into the northwest of England, we've got a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow down at sea level, southwest Scotland as well. And then we've got that flow. So the centre of the low is generally across the bulk of England and Wales. So on the northern side, we've got winds coming in off the North Sea. On the southern side, we've got winds coming in from the southwest. And we've got competing air masses at the moment. It's quite a complex setup, actually, with a lot of uncertainty with regards to who sees rain, sleet, and snow. It depends where you are, especially on that dividing line. That's also where you've got the risk of seeing freezing rain as well, where you've got that layer of slightly warmer air, while we've got colder down at the low levels. So we've got 68 concurrent viewers at the moment here. Do me a massive favour. Please hit that like button before you leave today's live stream. It really greatly helps the algorithm of the channel. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. It's going to be an interesting week coming up on the channel. European Outlook content 7 days a week here. So you are getting a lot of content that perhaps you're not seeing elsewhere. This is amazing satellite imagery as the sun was setting here. Gisby, this is probably the wrong pronunciation. We follow each other on Twitter and always shares some amazing satellite images. But this here is showing the sun setting, I believe. And you can see the snow covering quite a broad area, really, north of the central belt here. You've got the bank of cloud associated with that rain, sleet, and snow that's moving northwards here. But just a tiny bit of land visible, fading daylight between high level clouds to the south and incoming rainy ones to the north here. So we've actually got, we had rain in the far northwest corner of Scotland late last night, but then we also had the system that's moving in from the southwest that is providing a shield of cloud that has now starting to cross over our part of the country here. And this was a capture via satellite, obviously, as the sun was setting last night. So a pretty interesting image here of the snow-covered ground over Scotland. So let's continue to rattle on. So many things, obviously, to cover. Like I said, it's actually really quite hard to keep up. Let me see here. Lindsay had said something about she had sent those photographs. So bear with it a little second. And see if I can get that image up real quick. Sorry. So let me see if I can get these images here now. Is it going? There we go. There we go. We're going to get there in the end. So this was the sunset pictures from a little earlier. Beautiful scene, isn't it? Let me just see here. Does it show me the other ones? And you've obviously got the weather station in there as well. But yeah, that is a fantastic sky this evening. And then there is Ibrox. Happened to be there on the Thursday, but that is a different story altogether. We'll not get into the football side of things. What is the current temperature at the current time? Just bear with a second here. Is it going to have closed the picture at the tab? Anyway, forget about that for now. Let's see what the current situation is looking like in terms of temperatures. This is off the Highland Weather Network. Unfortunately, this just covers Scotland. This is Lee's weather station network. So let me just see. We've got quite a contrast in temperatures in a few spots, but 3s and 4s, 5s even through the Outer Hebrides. But then as you get inland, we're seeing the temperatures really coming down, especially where there's snow-covered ground. We've already got double digits below freezing in a few spots in parts of Inverness-shire, Aberdeenshire as well. So we've got a -10 here at Glenlivet after a low of -12. Another location at -10, Achindour, I think it is. Minimum this morning was -13.9 Celsius. That was at 11:09 this morning. Temperature dropped to -14 here. And the current temperature -10.1. Maximum was only -7.1. So obviously with shelter, hard to get the sun into some of these Highland glens at this time of the year. and the temperatures have been rather chilly to say the least. But there's quite a lot of -7s to -8s, -9s here, and even not that far away from this location, we've got -5s and -6s. Over the Black Isle, we've got anywhere from -1 to -5, it looks like. So rather chilly stuff to say the very least. Let me see what the current, is it going to show me the snow depths? I'm not sure if, here we go. So we've got the maximum snow depths at the moment here, as much as 6 centimeters of lying snow at Loch Liskarnock, it looks like. Is that Loch Liskarnock? Yes, it is. We've also got 3 at Altnahara. We've got as much as 5 centimeters at Aberdeen. It looks as if we've got Aviemore at 2 centimeters. So we've got a reasonable snow covered ground covering many areas of Scotland at this moment in time. So yeah, it looks as if we've got a near full house at the moment in terms of moderators. A massive thank you to Lindsay, to Lisa, and to Paul for moderating today's live stream. It is always greatly appreciated. What is the current situation with regards to extremes? So this is the current extremes in terms of the highest temperature versus the lowest temperature. So quite interesting at the moment. We have appeared to be, there is, that seems awful high if I'm being honest, but 6.7 Celsius at the moment at Dyke, while we've got -10.1 Celsius at the moment in Achandur. So quite a contrast in temperature. And then obviously if you look at the UK, we've got the very, very contrasting temperatures, even more so. This is the view over Europe. Draw a line right down the spine of Germany, mild to the west, with exceptions of northern and central UK. But we've got a lot of mild air in the far south of the UK, France, Iberia as well, 16 Celsius down in Faro and Portugal, for example. Then we've got double digits below freezing in a few spots further east over Europe. Up into Scandinavia at the moment, what is the current temperatures? So let's have a look and see. We've got the -34 I can see. So this is the current temperatures over parts of Norway, Sweden, and Finland. I know Finland isn't part of Scandinavia, which I used to think it was actually. But you can see here -34 at this location, which I'm not going to try and pronounce. Let's have a look at the current temperatures over the UK then. So here are the temperatures. We've got the temperatures as high as 13 Celsius across the far south of the UK. Then move into the South Midlands. We're dropping from low teens to 3, 4, and 5 degrees. That is a very, very short distance between 2 and 3 and 11 to 13 Celsius. You don't get much more of a gradient, tighter temperature gradient than that. Then as you get even across Wales, we've got 12 Celsius down towards Barry Island, while we've got 1 Celsius at Sunnybridge and 0 to 1 Celsius across North Wales. Ireland, we're generally in the colder air here, so even down to the south coast at Sherkin Island, for example, we've got 3 Celsius, and widespread anywhere from about 0 to 3 Celsius across the majority. We've got slightly milder air up towards Donegal and Antrim. If you notice here, Londonderry as well, seeing some mid-single figures. But as you progress across the UK and Ireland, further north, you're getting into the temperatures close to the freezing mark. And then up towards the central and north Highlands, we're talking -3.4 Aviemore at the moment, -4 in Inverness Dalcross, -4 Tain, and we've got -8.3 at Loch Liskarnock currently at this moment in time. So very big contrast. At one point we had at least 23 Celsius in terms of a difference between north and south in terms of the temperature. So let me see if there's anything else here. I did notice here Shrine's Twitter feed, some quite interesting images coming out of the Republic of Ireland here. So let me just see and get back up just here. So let's go on to Shrine's page here. So he is based in the Dublin area of Ireland, and this is some nice pictures here coming out of so this is a snowy Chat Moss heirloom from K.D. Bradshaw, showing some beautiful wintry scenes here of this region here around the Earlham area of England. Let me see here. This is an image from Shrine himself of the Balbriggan Lighthouse, waves slamming up against the lighthouse earlier today. So yeah, wow, beautiful shot. It has to be said. Let me continue to scroll through here. So this was the scene here from the wild Massey footprints in the Snetcha. Across, I don't know what part of Ireland that is, but nonetheless, beautiful shot there. Continue to look through. This was a scene here from Ballylinen, I think that is, if I'm right in saying, from Niall Carson. So beautiful image here of the snow in this particular part of the country of Ireland. Continue to see here. This was the scene elevation making a big difference. So this is from
here in
Carlow
Knocknana.
Weather.
There is lying snow and still snowing, as you can see. Light enough covering, but still coming down. There's still plenty of life in O'Keefe's tonight.
So that was a little report from Carlow Weather. That was 18 hours ago, so that was last night of the snow there. And this was also the scene here, a tweet here by Dublin Fire Brigade showing the high snowfall, heavy snowfall in the high ground in Dublin. This was also the scene here from Connor Pass, closed due to adverse weather conditions and heavy snowfall. So this is from Kerry County Council in Ireland. This would have been late last night, so pretty impressive snowfall here. Hebridean says, good evening. All temperatures reached +5 on the west side of Isle of Lewis today, currently +3, with wind now risen to 20 miles per hour. Thank you very much, Hebridean, for sharing that information. Yeah, we looked at the temperatures. It certainly is mild on the Outer Hebrides, certainly compared to the mainland where we've got -8.3 at the moment in Loch Liscarnock. So we are taking this tour of the UK in terms of the wintry weather. We've had all sorts of conditions, a sharp rise across the far south, firmly stuck in the cold air across northern England and the majority of Scotland. And some other nice pictures here from Anthony Grist. Weather updates showing Basingstoke in Hampshire seeing snow late last night before the milder moved in. So yeah, let's crack on then. So who else have we got? We've got our very own Richard Trott tuning in from Yorkshire. Good afternoon or evening, should I say, to Richard. Hope you're well, my friend. Let me see who else is on. We've got Chris A also on. I don't know if I already said hello to you, Chris, but if I haven't, hello to you. We've also got Sink Splint. Also, we've got a full house of moderators this afternoon. So thank you very much, Sink Splint, for tuning in. It is much appreciated here. City Andy says, Met Office reporting 22 Celsius temperature difference between the coldest areas of Scotland and the warmest areas of England. So yeah, I'm sure I counted at one point we had a -10 and a 13 Celsius at one point late this morning, I think it was. So yeah, 22, 23 Celsius is a pretty impressive one. We've also got Richard that actually posted a couple of pictures. Let me just quickly bring up Richard's Twitter feed, and he posted a couple of nice images. This is of Ormsby Bay, Ormsby Bank, or Ormsby Bank. I'll get there. I think that's the right pronunciation. So a few folk got stuck. This is a little image here, a video captured by Richard from earlier on. Hope you enjoyed the 3-0 back to earth today. Typical. Yeah, it's pretty much the case, isn't it? We'll play a harder team, we win. We'll play a team that you would expect to beat, and it's a struggle to say the least. So yeah, nice little video there by Richard. Thanks very much for sharing that on his Twitter page. Some other images here showing up. So a decent amount of snow in Richard's neck of the woods for sure. This is another interesting one here from Skelton. I'm assuming it's in Yorkshire, but it looks as if there's a decent amount of snow there. Richard, how much snow did you receive? Looks as if there's a good inch or two, a couple of inches, 3 inches, possibly in that area. as Richard is driving about. Let me see if there's anything else. Then we'll do a little global tour, as always, given the fact that this is a global weather report. We've also got Simon tuning in. Hi, Mark. Have discovered your weather channel. Fab and detailed forecast, by the way. As you know, no snow in Brighton. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Unfortunately, it'll be interesting. Keep an eye, Simon, on the weather. There is a system that is moving across the far southern half of the UK. Tuesday into Wednesday, it looks like. We'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail as we progress through the next day or so. Quite a dumping from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., says Richard. Yeah, it certainly looks as if it has been an impressive snowfall there. We've got 97 concurrent viewers at the moment here. Have you subscribed to Mark Vaughan Weather here on YouTube? If you haven't, it's absolutely free, and you've got 7 days a week content here, looking at not only the local picture but also the global picture in terms of weather forecasts. I look at the MJO, I look at the polar vortex and what's happening there. There is so many different factors to consider when it comes to long range forecast. It doesn't always work. I do get it wrong, but so far, December and through the first week or so of January is playing out very nicely indeed, with plenty of cold weather to speak about. I know, folks in the south of the UK, it has not been the case. I get that, but we will see a chilly week for sure as the cold air, as that system eventually clears off to the east. We're going to see the cold air digging back south. These are the temperature anomalies through the first 5 days of not only January but also 2025, and it has been a very mild start to January across much of Russia. If you notice here, Norway, Sweden, Finland, we're seeing colder than average conditions. Central and Eastern Europe is warmer than average. A mixture across the African continent. Saudi Arabia is seeing a very chilly first 5 days of the month. Also into Iran as well, so across over the Persian Gulf. You've got some quite cold anomalies showing up here. India, it looks as if you've got a warm west versus colder central and east. Looks as if very difficult to see. I do greatly apologise for this because it is quite difficult to see. But look at North America. Let's zoom in real quick here, and you've got a slightly better view if we go into the individual continents. So this is Africa. We've got areas of quite cold compared to average. Mali, for example, warmer than average, men spreading into the sub-Saharan, up into Libya, up into Egypt, for example, down into eastern portion of equatorial Africa. We're seeing slightly colder than average conditions here. I say colder than average, it's less than average, should I say, because it isn't exactly cold in this part of the world. Then across parts of interior South Africa, we're seeing some below average conditions, but down into South Africa itself, we're seeing warmer than average through the first 5 days. Let's look at Asia, and very, very above average in terms of the temperature anomalies. But look at Saudi Arabia, look at Iran, like I say, India, a bit of an east-west split here. We've had a fairly warm start of the year in eastern portions of China, in the Mongolia, Kazakhstan in particular. But we'll look at Japan in just a second, because we've seen some epic snowfall, incredible amounts of snow as the Arctic air moves across the Sea of Japan. Now, this is by far one of the snowiest parts of the world. But even for their standards, this early in the winter season, some incredible amounts of snow for sure seen here. Let's look at Europe. So, colder than average start to the month of January for the UK and Ireland. That is going to continue to increase in terms of the temperature anomaly over the next 5 days or so. Look at Norway, Sweden, and Finland, but look at Russia and into the eastern side of the continent. We're seeing warmer than average start. This is only through the first 5 days, so sometimes these colours are actually more prominent, and then it kind of gets mixed out, washed out, so to speak, as the month progresses. These colours tend to kind of relax and calm down a little bit. But certainly through the first 5 days of the month, it has been an interesting start to January. Looking at the continental North American continent, so we've got actually colder than average extending from eastern portions of Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, northern British Columbia through Alberta, Southern Saskatchewan has been it's been a cold start here, but we've got a warmer than average across northern Saskatchewan. Then you could draw a line all the way down to Florida, cold than average. Western United States largely warmer than average. Then as you move into northern Manitoba, the Nunavut territory, Ontario, Quebec, into the maritime continent, we're seeing not the maritime continent, the Canadian Maritimes. So yeah, a little mistake there. Sorry. Has been warmer than average. Looking at Australia, we've got below average conditions over eastern portions of Queensland, for example, but largely warmer than average across the majority of Australia. Colder than average, interestingly enough, across New Zealand, as can be seen here. So let me see here what else I can show you. South America, we didn't look at South America. Let's have a look and see. So we've got warmer than average across the heart of Brazil, as can be seen here. A couple of areas of below average further west and south, but we've got a bit of a mixture here through the first 5 days over the South American continent. Let's continue to see what else I can show you here. So let's have a look and see what extremes have been taking place around the planet in the past week or so here. So bitterly cold conditions up in the Yukon of Canada, coldest of the season by far. So this is off Thierry Goose's Twitter feed. Temperatures down close to minus 50 in Mayo and Pelly Ranch in the Yukon in the last 24 hours or so here. So bitterly cold conditions here. You would expect that really for the month of January, obviously, and some other cold temperatures as well. Of minus 27.6, for example. Now let me have a look here. Some exceptionally cold conditions, actually. Some sinkholes in parts of France and Switzerland. Seeing temperatures down into the minus 30s, so upper minus 20s to minus 30s showing up. So this is a sinkhole is essentially kind of mid-altitude sites where you've got a kind of dip in the land. So the cold air obviously it sinks to the bottom of these little basins that are sitting high up. So perhaps a mountain area, and you've got these little sinkholes where the cold air drains to the bottom and it becomes unusually cold compared to the surrounding area. A little bit of a quick and dirty explanation as to what a sinkhole is, but we've got them across many areas of Europe, Asia, as well as North America. But particularly cold, minus 37.8 Celsius in a few spots in parts of France and Switzerland. So let me just see here. We've also had the lowest temperature of the day. This is the 4th, which was yesterday in North America. Seems at minus 49.4 was recorded in Chicken, Alaska. Chicken being one of the coldest spots in Alaska. And look at this. Remember, I was saying just a second ago about the situation in Japan. So up in Hokkaido, I believe this is in Hokkaido, but Tsukaiu reached a snow depth of 413 centimeters, exceeding 400 centimeters on the 2nd of January, breaking the Japanese record for the earliest station in the JMA network to exceed 400 centimeters since records began. The previous record was on January 18th, so this is exceeding a snow depth, not amount of snow, but actually what's on the ground of 400 plus centimeters. So this exceeds the record back on the 18th of January. So Tsukaiu, I think it is, broke its own Japanese record by more than 2 weeks, which is rather interesting actually. So impressive amounts of snow in parts of Japan. Let me continue to skip through here and see what else I can show you here. So yeah, it looks as if it's been a very, very mild December across parts of Siberia, Oymyakon, for example, with a mean temperature of minus 34.7. Yes, it sounds cold, but remember this is the coldest inhabited place on the planet, permanently inhabited place that is, plus 10.3 Celsius above the 1930 to 2024 average. December 24 broke the previous record set in 1980, and the average throughout the month was minus 35.3 Celsius. Oymyakon also recorded its latest first minus 45 and latest first minus 50 on record here. So yeah, pretty impressive levels of mildness in a part of the world that you would typically expect to see bitterly cold conditions. I want to show you this here, by the way. This was the system as the cloud continued to spread northward, so it's now starting to encounter all the way across to the far north of the British Isles. So, but the milder is only getting so far, and then it's going to sink south. That centre of low pressure will move to the east, and it's going to open the door to northerly winds once again. Good afternoon to, or good evening, should I say, to Inverness, Scotland. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you are well. We've got anybody else? We've got we've got Steve Chilton also tuning in. Probably a dry mid-January coming. So in the European outlook tomorrow and beyond, through the course of this week, we're going to look at the longer term. Do check out yesterday's European outlook, 30 minutes long. I get it is a long-winded one, but there is a lot of information on there to look at. Let's have a quick look at the Weather Monitor, because they have some interesting tweets to show. Sorry, just bear with a second, and then we'll kind of close up with this here. Have I actually missed anything else out? I don't think I have. So let's look at the Weather Monitor, because some interesting information here. Have I just lost it? Sorry. Right. So let me see here. We've had some quite interesting flooding in places. Obviously, we had the significant flooding at the beginning of the last week, or the middle portions of the week. As we ended 2024-25, we've seen significant flooding in the Manchester area, for example. So it has really been quite a tough time for a lot of people. We've also seen blizzard conditions, freezing rain, cars skating all over highways in the Kansas City area, for example. Bitterly cold Arctic air is continuing to descend eastwards over North America as well. So we've got this classic negative North Atlantic oscillation moment. A cold trough over Western Europe, cold trough over Eastern North America, and we've had the block over Greenland. Now, there is some model indication that we're going to see a bit of a Scandinavian block developing as we move through the next couple of weeks, but we'll watch the that situation closely in the coming days to come. Freezing rain, major freezing rain. Today, this was in the Liguria area of Italy. This is really what freezing rain can do, by the way. Things build up of ice, whether it be on the car, power lines, you get power cuts, for example, and also on trees. And that can actually bring down trees when you get the ice accumulation starting to build up. The weight of ice then can bring down trees, structures, etc., etc. So this was the scene from the Liverpool area.
On the Liverpool United game today.
So a snowy scene there. I'm not going to play that for particularly long. Let's skip through here. This was the scene in Limerick in Munster. And when was this here? This was 3 hours ago, according to the Weather Monitor handle. Flash flooding in parts of roads in Greece due to heavy rain and thunderstorm activity. We've also seen some avalanches in the Little Cottonwood Canyon of Utah. So it's all happening. A lot of weather. We've had some record warmth in some places as well. This is the scene here in Amory City, where we've got 205 centimeters of land snow. Mountainous areas receive over 4 meters of snow. So check this out here. This is the Aomori Prefecture in Japan. So pretty bonkers, actually, isn't it? Look at this here. Pretty amazing. So yeah, you imagine seeing that amount of snow. We just couldn't cope. We can hardly cope with the snow that we see here in the UK. Never mind that. So yeah, let me see if there's anything else. This was a scene here from Lithuania back yesterday. So yeah, let me just round up then, folks. I think I've spoken long enough, and you're probably wanting to get your dinner and whatnot. So let's go through the live chat. I hope everybody has enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you very much to Richard, to Soft Shallow, Frogs Legs, Matthew, Lisa for moderating, Katrine. We've got Steve Chilton. We've got Hazel, Stephen Lane also. We've got who else? Jack Lowe, Lindsay for moderating as well. Thank you to Lindsay, Frogs Legs, Matthew, Hazel Kitching. Anybody else? Have I missed anybody? I hope I haven't. Inverness, Scotland. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stephen Lane, Nothing As It Seems, also tuning in. Good morning from the other Inverness in California. So thank you very much for tuning in from California, from Inverness, above all places. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Who else have we got? We've also got, obviously, Sig Splint, who was moderating, also tuning in. So massive thank you to everybody. I'm actually wilting a wee bit here, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you can notice that. There's been so many things to cover. It's been a massive live stream. Do check out the European outlooks this upcoming week. So the scheduling is going to be back to normal again, 5:30-ish for uploads, and there is going to be more chat about how cold, potential for more snow, potential of a moderation in this pattern as we move towards next weekend. The live stream, I think, next weekend is going to be 7:30 p.m. So it's going to be the later time of 7:30 next Sunday evening. So I think I've covered everything. Before you leave today's live stream, please hit that like button if you can. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a single penny, but you're going to get plenty of information on here. Massive thank you to Joyce and David for tuning in from Kirkintilloch as well. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, everybody. Stay safe out there as well. The roads are quite treacherous in places. There's ice, and where you've got some fresh fallen snow, remember that you may have some ice underneath that snow and you can't see it. So treacherous conditions out there. Stay warm, safe, and a massive thank you for tuning in to the first live stream of 2025. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.